I think I'm gonna play until the next night. So let's keep going. I'm rudely awoken, I'm rudely awoken by boisterous yells. As I blink my eyes open, I see the Pongo planted on Zach's face. What is going on? Zach leaps off the bed, continuing his scolding, and the Pongo scurries under the pillow. I think you scared him.
Get out of there!
He snatches the pillow to reveal the Pongo contentedly blobbing over his dischargers. The Pongo's eyes are slitted shut and he wears a silly grin.
Don't even think about it.
Zach scoops up his dischargers and forcefully gives them a shake. The Pongo's eyes snap open as he wobbles in the air, clinging for dear life.
Boy!
Zach doesn't cease his shaking, and somehow the Pongo seems to be hanging on.
Boy!
His small body jiggles up and down until he finally bounces to the floor.
Boy!
He glares daggers at Zach, who is too busy inspecting his dischargers to notice. There's a sharp knock on the door. Barely comprehending what's going on, I shuffle to the door and open it a crack.
I heard yelling. Is everything
She cuts off mid-sentence and her eyes grow wide. I look behind me and see Zach dangling his dischargers high in the air while the Pongo leaps up to reach it.
These aren't for you to absorb.
Boy!
I'll just wait for you guys downstairs.
Probably smart. Before I can answer, she turns around and walks away. I can't blame her for that. I close the door and start getting dressed. A long while later, I emerge from the room with the Pongo sitting on my head. Zach has his dischargers back in their holsters and shoulders his pack. We head downstairs and meet Leanna, who is waiting at one of the tables.
Is everyone ready?
Yup.
Yeah, as long as that thing doesn't come near my dischargers again.
Boy!
The Pongo sticks out his tongue. Leanna speaks before the two of them can start again.
All right, then let's hit the road.
Yeah! On to... Where are we going again? Lumia! Yeah, okay. With one final nod, she leads the way out of the inn and back into town. The rest of the journey towards Lumia is peaceful, yet uneventful. Isn't that good? I mean, how would it be peaceful and... I mean, I guess it could be peaceful and eventful, but... It's just weird that it's a yet. The Pongo snoozes on my head for most of the way there. Leanna frequently sneaks a peek at him and smiles to herself. Zach keeps to him... Hold on. Is that the... That's the wrong peak, isn't it? I was right. Noun, the point at top of a mountain. Verb, reach a highest point, either of a specified value or at a specified time. Adjective, greatest, maximum. Meanwhile, if you do define peak, P-E-E-K, you get quick, or look quickly, typically in a furtive manner. Or as a noun, a quick and typically furtive look. You're welcome. Zach keeps to himself and continues to be in the lead for fewest lines spoken. By midday, I can see the stone buildings of Lumia. We make it through the city gates without incident. Wow, it's a bigger place. Unlike the quaint houses of Meadow Hill Village, again, village capitalized this time, Lumia is built taller and grander. There's more noise as people fill the streets. Zach stares down a side street.
This is me.
I crane my neck and peer into an alcove.
It's a shortcut to the inn.
Leanna nods.
Safe travels. Hopefully our paths will cross again.
Good luck at the Mage Academy.
He heads into the alley. Bye, Zach! Do you think we'll ever see him again? I know, I included ever on purpose. It was for fun. She shrugs.
Mercenaries have a way of just popping up. Let's
True.
keep moving. The Mage Academy is straight ahead, closer to the center of town.
She points to a looming tower with a high steeple. As we get closer, I see that the tower is attached to a castle. Whoa, you studied here? Well, and now I have to wonder, why are they suddenly being inconsistent with their woe? I mean, I prefer this spelling of woe, but pick away, I'd say.
Yep.
It definitely looks prestigious. She notices my wonder.
What's your academy like?
Well, none of these involve giant mechs. Normal University, Party School, Liberal Arts College. Normal. I shrug. The usual. There are a lot of students all studying different majors, but we all have required core courses, which we have to complete before branching into our majors. Leanna nods.
That sounds similar to the Mage Academy. Everyone here must learn magic and casting. But after that, we are able to choose a discipline.
That's right. Like becoming a mage knight?
Yeah, that's right.
We begin making our way down the grand streets of Lumia. Once we arrive at the academy, Leanna pushes right through the wrought iron gates and leads me across the expansive quad. Students pass by in flocks, chatting animatedly. I'm gonna go with... Each of them wears nearly identical long cloaks, differing only in color. Leanna... I'm still thinking about animatedly. Chatting animatedly. I think it's like that. Because chatting animatedly... It just seems like the word goes on too long without emphasis, without a change. Leanna glances excitedly at a girl wearing a white cloak. Do you know her?
No, but we're in the same house.
Oh, cool. What does that mean?
You can tell by her cloak. White means she's learning wind magic.
Oh. I pay more attention to the specific colors. There's white, red, blue, and green. I bet I can guess which color represents what. Wind is white. Leanna nods. Red is fire, blue is water, and green is earth. She grins.
You got it.
I'm so good at this. We walk past an enclosed field. A young man sporting a green cloak holds a book in one hand, and with his other hand, aims his manipulator straight ahead of him. His mouth is pressed in concentration, and beads of sweat line his forehead. Space doesn't work. After a few tense minutes, the earth rumbles beneath him, and dirt spikes shoot out of the ground. That was awesome!
Come on!
Leanna pulls on my arm, reverting my attention back to the task at hand. We enter the east wing of the castle and into an open foyer. This foyer, right? This is for, again, my own personal benefit.
Foyer.
Okay, here's the thing. Isn't this great? It just keeps going back to this. So I said foyer, but then my mind was like, wait, is it foyer? And so I Googled it, and guess what? It's both. Again, it tells you. Foyer or foyer. Yay. There are only a scattering of students wandering these halls, and most are accompanied by an adult wearing long black robes. I assume they must be the professors. Leanna scans each professor we pass, as if looking for someone specific. She leads me up a winding staircase, then grins when she spots an older man with graying hair. His robes are pleated with white stripes, and he carries a staff in one hand.
Professor Orin.
He turns at the sound of his name and matches Leanna's grin.
Leanna, one of my best and brightest. What a pleasant surprise.
She smiles bashfully at the compliment.
It's great to see you again.
What brings you to the academy?
Actually, I'm here on official business. I'm sure you've heard of the random concentrations of magical energy by now.
That's right. He nods.
Well, I found someone who was directly impacted.
She gestures to me. I shift awkwardly as his gaze falls on me. Although he looks intently at me, I can sense his curiosity.
What exactly do you mean by impacted?
I was investigating a report of unusual magic energy in Meadowhill, and it turns out the concentrated energy originated from him.
Professor Orin raises a skeptical eyebrow.
That level of energy would tear a human apart from the inside. Are you sure you weren't mistaken?
My manipulator read the energy level.
What kind of energy level do I have now?
Maybe we can use the Academy's equipment to scan him again.
Yes, let's do that.
He motions for us to follow him, then turns down the hallway. We arrive in a spacious room. There's a large device on one end of the room, which is separated by a wall of glass. The device has two panels on the side which stretch up about 8 feet off the ground. On the other side of the room are a handful of students and professors. They consistently focus their manipulators in what I assume to be magical tests, and every so often jot down notes. A couple of Pongos openly roam about the room, mostly ignored by the people. If one wanders a little too close to a crystal, a student chases it away. Otherwise, they leave each other be. I thought you said Pongos weren't really welcomed in society. Leanna looks fondly around the room, a reminiscent smile on her face.
They aren't, but mages tend to like them. Pongos absorb residue energy on the mage from casting, which is surprisingly nice. Kind of feels like a gentle massage.
Oh. Professor Oren gives her a soft nudge.
Go ahead.
She nods and turns to me.
We're gonna take another scan of you now.
Awesome. You're talking about that huge thing behind the glass, right?
Yeah, it looks intimidating, but it functions the same way as my manipulator.
Okay. Alright. One of the students leads me to the device and has me stand between the two panels. There's a crystal mounted on top of each panel. As he closes the glass door behind him, the quiet mumbling of voices is muted into silence. A beam of soft light emits between the crystals and slowly descends towards my head, passing through my torso and disappearing at my feet. Once the light is gone, the same student lets me back into the room. Professor Oren looks grave while Leanna's mouth is pressed into a firm frown.
This can't be right. Maybe we should scan him again.
Leanna, the levels that you reported would have killed this young man.
Even so, how is it possible that this scan shows he has 0 magical energy?
Why do you look grave? She holds out her manipulator. Just as when we'd first met, a pale light glows. Unlike our initial meeting, as she holds her manipulator closer to me, the light remains unchanged. Leanna's face falls. Professor Oren puts a comforting hand on her shoulder.
Had he just cast it? Perhaps it was magical residue which you had read. As you know, that tends to slowly leave the body after each magic use.
She shakes her head.
It was too high a reading to just be residue.
Not to mention, if it were just residue, is residue really enough to tear a human's body apart? Maybe. The last time Leanna used her scanner thing on me, that little glowy light was pulsing like crazy. Like it was almost flatlined, it was beeping so much. Professor Oren seems intrigued.
Then perhaps it was a faulty reading from your manipulator.
Perhaps.
I can hear the skepticism in her voice. Really? Because I couldn't. It seemed to be working fine before. Leanna shakes her head as if asking me not to continue.
I should get back to my students, but I hope I get to see you again.
Professor Oren gives Leanna's shoulder one last comforting squeeze before he leaves. While our discussions had been taking place, I noticed the Pongos would watch me with interest. A green one starts to gravitate towards us. Maybe it's interested in Leanna's magic? But then, why does it look like it's heading towards me?
Poi?
I look down and see my wobbly blue friend at my feet. Hey, you're back. He bounces on the ground and fixes me with his wide smile. Suddenly, he stops and stares at the green Pongo, who blinks back at him. He hops towards it and grins.
Poi. Poi poi. Poi.
My Pongo's eyes widen.
Poi. Poi poi.
The green Pongo grins and hops away, and my Pongo follows it. I have no idea what just happened, but why do I feel all warm and fuzzy inside? As the Pongos run off, a professor in a wheelchair rolls towards us. Although he's lost all his hair, he doesn't seem as old as some of the others.
Leanna.
It's Leanna, actually. Oh, Professor Xavier, you're bald, you're in a wheelchair. I get it. She doesn't bother containing her surprise.
Professor Xavier!
I do like the reference, but I'll play it cool. Because again, like, if I were to choose one of these, it'd be like, oh, are you the same one that taught cycling? You know, like, he would just rush out with that, I'm pretty sure, and nah. By this point, I'm familiar enough with the world, or the main character is familiar enough with the world, that he shouldn't jump to those conclusions unless he were joking, and I just feel like now's not the time for that. He smiles at Leanna.
It's always nice to see a familiar face.
Then he turns his attention to me. It's nice to meet you, sir.
You as well.
And look, he's also important enough, yeah, to have a picture.
Professor, is there something I can help you with?
Leanna, how high was your original energy reading?
Were you eavesdropping?
In the
Professor X
thousands.
over there just dropping eaves. He creases his brow and ponders quietly.
Tell me, are you familiar with the theory of temporal rifts?
But does that also cover dimensions? Because I'm pretty sure that in the history of our universe, we didn't have this stuff. You know, temporal is just time.
In the most basic sense, a temporal rift occurs when the fabric of
that's
the
what I would
universe
assume.
is torn. In the midst of this tear, there is a moment where the parallel worlds overlap.
Yeah, I shouldn't jump in. To me, temporal would just mean strictly relating to time, but if this game is going to establish that a temporal rift is like interdimensional, you know, a tear with parallel worlds and all that, that's acceptable. Leanna and I glanced sharply at each other. Would it be possible to cross between these worlds?
It may be in theory, but it'd be very difficult. After all, that type of travel between worlds would require an immense amount of energy, an amount that no human would be able to manipulate and survive. That's why most elders have dismissed this as nonsense. But listening to all that's been said today, it coincides quite closely with this theory.
It does sound like it, yes. For the first time since we've arrived at this school, I begin to feel a glimmer of hope. What more can you share about this theory?
Well, not much, I'm afraid. As I said, most consider it to be either nonsense or too inconsequential to waste their time on. Although there is one man who spent his life developing and researching this theory. He used to be an instructor of this academy.
Is he still in Lumia?
Unfortunately, he left many years ago in search of Ember Mist.
Leanna purses her lips.
The hidden city.
Oh. He nods. If it's hidden, I'm guessing it'll be hard to find. Before he can respond, a student with 2 long pigtails strides over.
Please allow me to accompany you on your quest.
I didn't say we were looking for Ember Mist. Professor Xavier replies sternly.
Absolutely not.
Could you elaborate on your disapproval? This is an excellent opportunity to further my research and education.
What is the quest that you speak of?
This is not a Mage Academy-sponsored expedition, so there won't be mages around to protect you. It's a dangerous journey, especially given the fact that no one knows the location of Ember Mist.
The girl stays silent, and I can practically see the cogs in her head spinning as she contemplates his words. Finally, she nods.
Understood.
As soon as she finishes speaking, she turns on her heel and walks away. What just happened?
Pay her no mind. That's just how she is.
Who is she?
That's Amelia Estelle, the university's prodigy. She's only a teenager, but already a mage caster, which means she can manipulate 2 different elements at the same time.
Gotcha. I flash her a grateful smile for automatically explaining what a mage caster is. I'm guessing mage casters are usually a little older than a teen? Leanna grins.
Just a little. Most mage casters are in their 40s.
Ah. My eye widened. It's just the one. She must really be something special then.
Anyway, thank you for all of your help, Professor.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to be more helpful, but I wish you the best of luck on your journey.
After saying goodbye, his wheelchair moves on its own and pushes him out of the room. Whoa, did his wheelchair just move by itself?
Not quite. He's using wind magic to push it along.
He's using what now? I'm sorry. The more I see magic in use, the more I wish I could use it.
What did you think of everything the professor said?
It sounds exactly like what happened to me. Or it sounds exactly like what happened to me. We should find this Ember Mist City and talk to the professor there. She nods.
Unfortunately, no one knows how to get there. Let's stop by the inn. Since it's a hub for travelers from all over, there's bound to be someone who knows something.
That sounds like our best course of action. Once agreed, Leanna leads the way out of the academy. I follow her through the twisting roads of Lumia. When asked why we were taking so many turns, she said she wanted to avoid the marketplace, which would be so crowded with people we wouldn't be able to walk through. Soon, we reached the inn. The place is a lot larger than any other inn we've stayed at so far. Cue outro, go!